only see opportunities when you're looking for them. And so that's what you have to see, both in business and also in your personal finance for investment.
You know, our topic for today, Waithaka, is making your money work for you. The presumption here is that by saying your money, it means that you have money.
Yeah.
Lydia on YouTube says, guys, please help me with 50K.
Literally, I've just seen that.
Send me 50K, yeah.
So she's starting from that point.
Yeah.
I don't have money. So what's this we're talking about, making my money work for me?
Yeah. And in our country and in the context of Africa, we have to be careful because there are those who are in dire need.
Yeah.
All right? I don't know Lydia's position, but I have a feeling that if she can be able to afford airtime to send us that message, then she has a little bit of money. There are those people in this country who don't even have food. And to those people, I say, for the rest of us, middle class, those who are privileged enough to have some cash, please support, give, be generous as much as you possibly can. But that's not an excuse that at whatever level that you are, that you can't do something about your life. I think one of your colleagues who is, I don't know, he's an inspiration to me, is one of your friends. I don't know if you remember Johnson Mwakazi. When I met Johnson the first time, he had one outfit. He was walking. Wherever he went, he couldn't even take a M3 from home to come for the meeting that we were having. He grew up in Kibera. And people think that Johnson just made it because God blessed him with an amazing voice. I mean, I'm so envious of that deep voice that he has. But Johnson, if you listen to his story, I listened to him one time and he just talked about the fact that even while living in Kibera, he used to put on the radio and say, that's what I want to do. And he spent time with the gift God had given him, practicing pronunciation, listening to the voice of a newscaster. And in that position where you'd say, hey, that's poverty, isn't it? When you don't even know where your next meal is. But he took the gift that he had and he used it in such a way that it opened doors for him. And I honestly believe that if everyone were to take that position, that you'd be able to see exactly what you're looking for and find the opportunity that is in front of you. So are there opportunities? Yes, 100% yes. And it's for us to open our eyes and say, hey, what can I do in my position? That's what I have to say.
Yeah. How, do people push back at you with that when people are like, what you've just said, you know, there's people who've taken a chance and made it, or that if you're able to just send a message, participate in a show online, you must have some semblance of income. What kind of pushback do you get, and how do you remind people, no, you have something that you can start with? What does that interaction usually sound like?
It's a process of discovery. And one of the things that you have to understand is that not everything you're going to try is going to work. So keep trying. That's the idea. I can testify. I think you were talking about the church. Let me give my testimony of how I failed in business. I did. I failed. And it was not for lack of trying. You raise the capital, you do the work, you put it in, and then the business just doesn't work. Okay. So in my case, there was a lack of knowledge. So I was good at project management, but I wasn't good at the entrepreneurship journey of building a business and actually understanding the finance in business. And that's where the failure came. But that failure, as it was, opened another door for me to be sitting here in front of you. And so now when I'm teaching in classes and I'm running a couple of businesses right now myself, I'm able to say, I look back and I was like, thank God I failed, because now I understand where you are if you're having problems along the way. So even that failure allows for you to, I can't remember who it is, to fail forward. That's a good idea, in that now the failure just taught me that doesn't work. So don't do it again. Do something new. And no matter which area of life you're going to be in, you will fail. Let's just be very clear about that. Talk about politics, talk about business, talk about employment. There will be failure. Now, it's what do you do with that failure that gets you ahead? If you're employed and your employer is not paying you more, what can you do on a Saturday morning? I always complain to all the Kenyans, please type it in the chat box if you're in this. All the Kenyans who have bought a piece of land they have never seen. Those people I just don't understand. You buy land you have never seen. What is it doing? It's just sitting somewhere and not doing. Go there this weekend and do something. See how you can increase your income. So income is the issue. Number 2, pay yourself first. As a habit, any money that comes in, save and invest first. Because if you save and invest after you've paid everybody else, there's nothing left. You pay the government, the church, the bank, everybody else, your relatives, there's nothing left. So if you make the habit to pay yourself first, then there's always an investment and a growth. Number 3, track your spending. Most of us do not know how much we spend. And so you cannot budget if you don't know where your money is going. So please, spend time knowing where your money is going. All those holes that are in your pockets, plug them. And number 4, please focus on assets. One of the problems that we have is that we spend so much money on things that don't put money in our pocket. That is the issue, Janet. That you're going to find somebody will spend 50,000 shillings on a TV, but they will not put 50,000 shillings in their sacco. Do you get what I mean? Yes. And the TV will never put money in your pocket, but the 50,000 over time will earn you enough to pay back that TV or to allow you to borrow against to buy that TV. So focus on assets. Assets put money in your pocket.
Assets put money in your pocket.
What's an asset?
An asset puts money in pocket. Okay. Yes, an asset is something that you own that puts money in your pocket. It either grows capital gains, it either gives you an income, or at least maintains its value. Those are the things that you want to look for. So let me give you an example. Anything can be an asset if you use it. I was so amazed at some young guys in Kangemi who use their PlayStation. Now you'd think a PlayStation video games are not an asset. No, it's an asset. They have a kibanda. They put blinds all around. You can barely breathe in that place. They have a TV, and you come in and you pay, I can't remember what it was. I think it's 50 shillings every try. So that PlayStation, which normally is sitting in your house or doing nothing with your kids, is actually an asset for these young guys because they have said, everybody who comes into that room is giving me 50 shillings and it's going to pay for itself. So whatever you own that puts money in your pocket is an asset.
What if it's something that you own that facilitates you putting money in your pocket?
Such as
a motor vehicle.
I
know what you guys
completely disagree. Oh, please tell me what we say. I want to hear. Eric, I want to hear.
Let me tell you.
Please let me hear.
These money people.
What did I say?
They will tell you a car is a depreciating whatever.
Yes.
So it's not an asset.
Yes. So it is an asset. It's called a consumption asset.
Okay.
So its primary function is in its use. What if it facilitates? To what point do you mean it facilitates? Let me give you an example. Eric, do you have any idea how I arrived here in your studio?
Absolutely none.
Done. Does it matter? No.
Not to me, but maybe to you it does.
Yeah. Listen, if I want a car, and this is the difference. If I want it, it should become part of my plan, not to impress Eric or anybody else. Nobody here knows how I arrived to in this place. And so, does it matter? No. Most of the meetings that I go for, high-level meetings, no one ever sees the car. It's parked somewhere in the basement or I came in an Uber. Does it matter? The issue is when I come and stand in front of you, what am I presenting? What am I giving you as a solution? So, Eric, I'm not against cars. Because the next time you see me and you see me driving a nice car, you're going to say, this guy is a hypocrite. This guy is no.
Preaches wide.
Listen. What? If the car is the only thing that you have, you're in problems. What you need to have, and this was something, it's difficult, but we practice this with my wife. We said earlier on, I've been doing this now almost 10 years, okay? And earlier on, I was going for all these meetings in an old Nissan B14, 30-year-old car. Did it matter? Most of you guys didn't even know what I arrived in for all the meetings that I was going for. And my wife and I, we said, we're not going to buy a new car until we have an asset that is going to pay us to drive that car.
Right.
So by the grace of God over that period of time, and truly by the grace of God and the work that we were doing, we now have tenants who are paying us to drive the cars that we have. But it started off by look for the asset, and that's a hard thing usually, because it means for a while you're not where you want to be. But what we've learned is that if you can delay the gratification, when it comes, then you're in a better position.
So the point here is not the car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the model of the car and the cost of the car is what you're saying, consider. But you see, the argument here by many people would be, for me to be able to arrive at this place where I'm earning a living on time, considering where I live, then I need to have a sure way of getting there.
No problem.
Okay?
Yes.
So instead of using matatus, so I have to use like 4 different matatus. I've got to walk a certain distance to a bus stop. When it's raining in the morning, then I'll be delayed. So that affects my income. That's why I call it a facilitative tool. If the motor vehicle is a facilitative tool, it allows you to get here on time so that you can earn, and you can even leave late, work until late, because you know I'm not worried about a tipatatu za kwetu Aisha, right? So if this vehicle, it does that, is that an asset?
No. It is not an asset. I'm being very clear. It's not an asset, but I didn't say that everything in your life has to be an asset. It doesn't. Please, one of the things that we teach at Centonomy is that you must live abundantly. But the issue is that we don't usually plan for that abundant life. So in the class, I say, guess what? At the end of this year, in September, I saw all the iPhones that are present here on the table. Guess what? Apple is going to release the next iPhone in September. So instead of waiting till September and then the iPhone is released, then that's when you're looking for 200,000 shillings to go and do it. If you just saved up every month until September, you're going to go and buy the new iPhone that's available. Plan for the abundance that you're looking for. And Eric, you're talking about if you need a car to get around, come on, you can get a nice car for 700,000 shillings. In fact, it's even easier to park because it needs a small space and the fuel is cheap.
Because as long as it's 4 wheels.
That's all.
Somebody's asking which asset maintains its value.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So, like a savings account is a great asset. Why? Because you're not earning too much interest, but you have access to it and it's secure. So that a savings account is a good example of an asset that at least maintains its value. Because of that small amount of interest, it's generally keeping up with inflation. So that's a good example. Real estate. So that piece of land that you bought that you have never seen is also kind of maintaining its value because every year, because of the supply demand, the value goes up. There are so many different kinds of investments that are out there. People get stuck. And here's how we solve the problem. Pick 2. Go do the research. Call. Like if you're interested in getting to the stock market, call all the stockbrokers. By the way, they give information for free. And most people don't go because they've never asked. Call, go and visit them and say, I want to invest in order to have this amount of money by the time I am age dash. Now you see you've been very specific with the outcome that you're looking for. Go to their competitors next door and go to the third competitor. And then do what? Start. Because the other thing is people don't start. You're just sitting there and waiting for the right time, for the most secure investment that has no risk and that will give you the highest rate of return. Doesn't exist. What you do is you like a farmer, what we talked about before. Farmers plant seed in the ground, not because that they are guaranteed that seed will grow, but because they're like, you know what? If I don't plant, there will be no seed. So there'll be no fruit coming out of it. So, as I said, with that amount of money, put some towards saving and put some towards investing. And here's the issue that people also don't get. The amount is not the biggest issue. The consistency is where the difference is.